Hello, folks. I just wanted to do a video debunking something I'd seen on the Guardian's YouTube page. This is, of course, just my opinion, and you are welcome to argue it. But I just thought it really is a pretty good video where I can kind of say what I think about the so-called intellectual left.
Yeah, full of hope. Think you can pull it off? Yeah.
You think you can?
Yeah, why not?
We're fighting this to win.
We feel very excited for Corbyn.
You can do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully. Fingers crossed.
We will do it.
JC.
Yeah!
Jesus Christ.
Some mischievous looking liberals there. Of course, JC, Jesus Christ. I don't think this old bastard comes close to Christ. But, well, blasphemy. No big deal. But we wouldn't blaspheme Muhammad, would we?
How does Britain need to change?
Compassion. I think we're lacking in that in modern politics.
Presumably, when he says compassion, he is referring to the fact that we are not letting every illegal immigrant through our borders under Theresa May. He could also be referring to people who are on disability benefit, some of whom will need or rather rely on that because they have long-term illnesses. Now, that is fine, that's a good point, and it's true the Tories have somewhat had a go at, taking people's benefits, and sometimes they go after people who have a genuine case. But I actually think they could do a lot more if they were a bit more, if they investigated some of the minorities who just exploit the benefit system whilst they work full time in the background. Well, I'm a racist for saying it, but it's true. I mean, Brits do it also, but it is there are a lot of the minorities doing all this, and they're laughing into their sleeve. If people just investigate a bit better, it might sort that out, and then the genuine people who need help can get help.
Look at the way communities can come together in the face of adversity, support each other.
Manchester attacks and then what happened in London, I think it's really raw and it's hit home, but I think the fact that people are still turning out today in the numbers, I think it speaks volumes about the man himself.
This fella's just said the Manchester attacks are still raw. Well, of course they are, but let's face it, most people are not personally affected by it. They are outraged by it, but they're not like some of these leftists pretend to be personally affected and they do their crocodile tears routine. Most people understand that this thing is going to be inevitable as long as we have a left-wing government in charge, because the left-wing government panders to these kind of people. Corbyn has said that he is against anti-terror legislation. Therefore, I guess that means they can do whatever they want under Corbyn. What's also clear is that if you take countries like Hungary and Poland, they have not had any jihadi attacks because there might be a small amount of white converts who I think are complete morons, but there are only a very small amount. Most of these attacks are being done by Arabic Muslims. And the fact is that we opened the door to these people. Blair opened the door to them, and Corbyn is not going to do anything to halt their cloaked conquest of this country. This is also interesting because they're like saying, oh, well, these attacks were bad. That's why we're sort of behind Corbyn, because he's gonna be like, he'll sort it out. But it's like, like I said, the left-wing bullshit a heck of a lot, right? That what do they mean? Of course it isn't. Corbyn would be even softer than Theresa May. And Theresa May isn't doing enough, as the likes of Tommy Robinson or the that SAS fella that's been in the news a lot. they're sort of saying, well, the ones that are risk, maybe put them in prison. I'd say don't bother, don't punish them if they haven't committed a crime. Just deport them, because we don't want people who could kill people in our land. Deporting them would be a good answer. They would be quite happy back in the Middle East with family and friends.
Do you understand why someone would vote for the Tories?
No.
They must have lots of money that need protecting.
That's it. Making self-interest.
Yes, yes it is.
Do you know any Tories?
I hope not.
They must have a lot of money that needs protecting. I guess that is a comment that is valid in the sense that Tories are always going to tax the middle and upper classes a bit less than Labour. Well, maybe even a lot less. But, from being from a northern working class background myself, I know my relatives have this view as well, and it's like a deep set hatred of the Tories, and it's just Tory Labour. It's tunnel vision, and what's more is voting for Labour is no good for any white Europeans. Labour have an open door immigration policy. They are throwing the white working class under the bus. They might be alright today, but tomorrow they probably won't be.
The Tories would set young against old. The Tories would set region against region. We don't do that. We bring people together. Look at all of us here today, in our thousands, here in Gateshead. We're young, we're old, we're black, we're white, we're gay, we're straight. We are a crowd together because of what we want to achieve.
Our journey through this strange, unpredictable election began 6 weeks ago.
Theresa May saying this is a big moment for the country and she's got to try and increase the majority and...
It was supposed to be all over before it started.
Conservatives.
And yet there were signs that some people knew something important was at stake.
For the first time ever, I think we've genuinely got a choice.
I do have to say to people, come June the 8th, don't vote Conservative. Because all you're going to do is punish people like my dad.
Since then...
Oh, it really pulls on the heartstrings, that one. No, these left-wingers are often psychotic, so the fact that she's sort of red-faced with tears in her eyes doesn't necessarily mean she's got a good reason to be so flustered.
The usual rituals of politics have been upended twice, underlining the fact that we live in a confounding, often frightening world.
I think they're all a bit deflated because of what's happened. All the bombing.
So yeah, they keep referencing these Muslim attacks, and without giving any rhyme or reason, they're saying Corbyn would be good to stop these, or I mean, they're saying a vote for Labour is against all this terrorism, but it's actually not. Corbyn has openly said less anti-terror legislation. Really, the people who we should be angry at for all this are the Liberals that allowed these people into the country. Most of the Arabs were not in the country until the Blair regime.
Why not?
She's like Margaret Thatcher, I think.
Oh, no.
You know,
This place still feels like it has a big Labour vote, but we're looking for evidence of something more. Jeremy Corbyn's supposed surge in the polls.
it's quite odd to hear, for me, to hear South Walian people voting Tory. My grandfather was a South Wales coal miner. The idea that people who would vote Tory used to be weird.
This is the mind-blowing thing. We've always been Labour, and for it to come to this is insane. But she's the only person I trust.
Yeah, you see a lot of young and female people who really will vote left-wing. I think generally women are more likely to go left-wing because they're emotional creatures and they cannot see the impracticality of importing all these third world people.
I vote Labour, but I wasn't going to this time. But because what Theresa May have done with the old age pension, cutting the winter fuel out, I'm going to vote for Jeremy. I don't like him. He don't look like a leader, does he?
I don't know what a leader looks like.
Some of these, I guess, are national issues, and say that old bloke there, he will get a better pension under Corbyn. I'll take his word for it, but at the end of the day, conditions for white working class are not favourable under a Corbyn regime. You've got to think about the long-term effect.
Oh, is it?
Something's changed. You're all human
I don't know.
again. And
Are we all Well, I'm more human probably because I'm an...
Well, of course, non-whites going to vote Labour for obvious reasons, because they know that Labour are super against any so-called racism. They basically hate the white British and treat them with contempt, so it's a natural choice. They never really hit the nail on the head as to why, but I think it's pretty obvious why they don't do that.
3 Labour voters. That lady had a poster.
This is very forensic, this. In a seat as tight as this, you have to maximise what's called voter contact.
OK, postal. Fabulous. Did you vote for Labour?
I watched him on the One Show as well. It's like, you know, you watch these programmes and he just seems more like of a people person to me.
Ah, now there is your opponent, standing with Theresa May. Wow, he's brave now as the door knocks. Right. Are you having it?
Oh, you've seen Game of Thrones, haven't you? Yeah. Bring it on, I say. Who's put that there? She's a lady who comes from a working class background, and I think we should be supporting her. Good man. So we need to take that down then, don't we?
I don't know who put it down.
We need to take that down.